Special thanks to Patreon supporter Derek Frost Westbrook for making this video possible. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Scared204 here, and welcome back to another Minecraft Modern Warfare aircraft tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going ahead and building the IAI Kfir C.7. The Israeli aircraft industry's Kfir, which translates from Hebrew to lion cub to English, is an Israeli all-weather multi-role combat aircraft based on the French Dassault Mirage 5, with Israeli avionics and an Israeli-built version of the General Electric J79 turbojet engine. The version we have in front of us is the C7, which is the more modern version of the Kfir. It has additional hardpoints that are usually underneath the air intakes. We do not have it on this version just because the loadout we have, it doesn't really have the pylons actually attached underneath the intakes, but it also, one of the main features also is a more advanced and more powerful engine. So yeah, the C7 here, a pretty cool looking aircraft and a very awesome one. Our first ever Israeli aircraft, which is also really cool. We don't have too many of those, and this is kind of its own thing. I mean, I know that this is kind of based off of a French aircraft, but realistically, when you compare the two, this one is pretty different in its own way and has its own character to it. And so make an awesome addition if you're looking for some cool Israeli self-defense force aircraft, or kind of like a multi-role combat type aircraft. Before we go and jump into this tutorial though, I do want to go ahead and give special thanks to Patreon supporter Derek Frost Westbrook for making this tutorial possible. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel more, you already do, feel free to check my Patreon page. Link is always in my video description, where you can go and place a small amount to the channel every month, and in doing so, earn a few requests to your choosing. It really helps support the work I do on my channel and is really greatly appreciated, so definitely feel free to check that out. Again, link is always in my video descriptions. With that though, let's go ahead and dive in here to take a look at the Kfir. So to start off with, we can kind of take an overview of it, kind of get everything in on what we have going on here. We do have a landed and in-flight version available in this tutorial, so you'll be able to build both. And you can see we have the in-flight version like so. So the camouflage here is pretty simple. It's probably one of the main things you're going to notice right away. We have basically a kind of white, or kind of an off-white underbelly, and then we have a kind of brown and tan color scheme up on top here. And it really looks good. It really complements the jet and looks really, really nice. And this camouflage is based off of War Thunder's version, which is pretty much what the Israelis are running on these aircraft. For the loadout, it's pretty cool. This was specifically requested by Derek for his Patreon request, but we have some AM9 Sidewinders here on the hard points on the outer section of the wing. And this intersection here, we have the gun pods. So these are 20mm Vulcan M61 Gatling guns, or yeah, I think Gatling guns is a proper term for that. And yeah, they have gun pods here mounted on the sides. I believe these were actually originally used on the F4 Phantoms, and the Israelis kind of made their own version, or took some of these and are using them. So it kind of gives us, I guess, more of a fighter type of loadout, but you can obviously modify this for bombs and stuff. But yeah, this is specifically loaded that was requested by him, and it's pretty cool. On the wings here, we have, obviously, it's a split back wing, kind of a triangle type shape. We have the little canards here on the front for stabilizing the cockpit, all the details here flowing back to the tail. And we have the massive jet engine here, and this thing is pretty much a jet engine with wings. It's got a massive engine on the back, and it's a really nice looking aircraft. So really happy the way this came out. Should make an awesome addition to our Modern Warfare line of aircraft, especially as a Israeli aircraft, which we haven't actually done before. So cool stuff. With that though, let's go and move into the tutorial by beginning with our first layer, layer number 1. Alright guys, so going ahead and moving into our first layer here, we're actually going to be going ahead and start with layer 3. Now layer 3 here is going to give us a nice basis for the aircraft to kind of build off on. Layers 1 and 2 are really just going to be the hard points, so it's a little bit easier to just kind of start with this layer and build basically off of this center layer. Now a few things I want to cover real quick is, if you're completely new to my aircraft tutorials, the way I like to structure these tutorials, I like to do half on camera, half off. What this means is rebuilding the entire center line of the aircraft and then the right side. It'll be up to you guys to take the right side and copy it over to the left side. This aircraft is completely symmetrical, so whatever we do on one side will be done to the other. In addition, we will be building the aircraft in a solid tan color scheme, except for the white underbelly. This is just due to make the tutorial a little bit easier, and then I'll talk about the camouflage a little bit later at the end of the video. So again, we'll be building it strictly just in a tan color scheme using sandstone, and then again I'll talk about the camo at the end of the video. And with that, let's go ahead and get started here. Now, if you do want to build the landed version of the aircraft, you're obviously more than welcome to. You will need to make sure, though, that you take an extra step here before you go ahead and get started building. This step is going to be basically taking a look at our front here. You want to make sure that you have 2 blocks of space between the bottom here, or your ground, and this layer 3 here. So again, we have 2 full blocks of space, and then we have our layer here. That's going to run all the way along the layer 3 here. So again, just make sure that's correct. Again, for comparison here, we have these top slabs. You have basically 2.5 blocks of space between that and the ground level. Very important to make sure that's correct when you go ahead and start layer 3 here, because if not, your aircraft is not going to sit properly, and the build will be messed up when you go back to add the landing gear. So again, keep that in mind. To get started though with, we want to go ahead and begin with by placing down a polished direct upside down stair. Coming off the back of the stair, we're going to go ahead and build toward the front of our aircraft, so our aircraft's going to face that way. We're going to build 1, 2, 3 of these direct top slabs, 2 end rods, and then a chain on the very end. After that, going off the stair here, we're going to place down another direct top slab, as well as 2 pistons, like so, upside down. Now, if you're not on Java, instead of the pistons here, I would probably place down just some direct top slabs or direct full blocks. Either one will work, but the pistons here are going to be best, especially with a little technique we'll use later on in the tutorial for Java players. Continuing on though, we're going to go ahead and then place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 direct top slabs, then a polished black stone wall, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of these direct top slabs again. We'll then place down 2 upside down pistons. Again, if you're not on Java, we'll place down a direct top slab and then a direct upside down stair, which will face that direction like so. So again, alternative to those 2 pistons would be that. After that, we're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 polished direct full blocks, then a white shulker box that's going to be upside down, and then a direct top slab coming off the end of the shulker box. After that's done, going ahead and going back up to the front here, we're going to go and go to the side of the second from front top slab here. We're going to place down a birchwood sign to the side there. We're going to go then place down a birchwood sign on the side of this piston, and then a skeleton skull right after that. Then going ahead and going back to this section here, we're going to go to the last row of polished direct. And this row is 6, right before this polished black stone wall. We're going to place down an iron trap door to the side, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Polished direct top slabs back, and then 2 iron trap doors. Our next row here is going to be an iron trap door coming off this one. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Iron trap doors back. We're going to go then count on the side here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and our 5th iron trap door. We're going to place down 1 to the side, then an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 iron trap doors back. Then we're going to go back to our 3rd iron trap door, 1, 2. We're going to go and then grab ourselves some white stained glass panes. We're going to place down a white stained glass pane here. Then we're going to place down 1, 2, 3 direct walls, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 iron trap doors. Next row here is going to be coming off this glass pane, iron trap door. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 back. Next row here is going to go off the 3rd iron trap door. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then our next row, we're going to have a white stained glass pane coming off of this iron trap door here. And then we're going to go back 1, 2, 3 polished direct walls, and then another iron trap door on the end. And then lastly, we're going to place down 1 and 2 iron trapdoors like that to the side. And after we have that all done right there, that's going to basically wrap up what we have here for layer 3. Taking a look at it from above, this is what we should have for the top-down view. Again, you'll take what we do on the right side here, flip it over to the left side, and that will pretty much make layer 3 all together. With that, we're going to go and drop down to layers 1 and 2, in which we're going to go ahead and build the hard points of the aircraft. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to layers 1 and 2. Alright guys, so going ahead and moving into building our armaments on the aircraft. Now, these are going to be attached to the hard point, and you can definitely change these out for bombs or anything like that using some of the designs from my previous tutorials if you really want to. But again, for our loadout here, we have these M61 Vulcan gun pods, and then we also have some AM9 Sidewinders on the wingtips. So again, you're more than welcome to change the loadout, but for this tutorial, and specifically requested by our Patreon supporter, this is what he wanted. So this is the reason we're doing them, and this is the loadout we have. So for the loadout we have on the aircraft, we're going to go ahead and start off by going ahead and go into these inner pylons. So these are going to be the first ones on the inside there, the wings. What we're going to do here is we're going to place down a row of 1, 2, 3, and 4 white concrete full blocks underneath this glass pane and these direct walls. We're going to go then place down a gray concrete block here toward the rear. Then going toward the front, we're going to go ahead and place down an additional 2 white concrete blocks forward, another gray concrete block, and then a wither skeleton skull. On top of that wither skeleton skull, we're going to place down an iron trapdoor. We're going to follow this up with a skeleton skull like so, and then we'll delete this one iron trapdoor right here and then place down a daylight detector in its place, and we can go ahead and then change it to night mode like so. So it should look like that there. We're going to go and then take our iron trapdoors and we're going to place them all the way along the side here of these concrete blocks as well as on the bottom here. Now this right here, what trapdoors you use kind of depends on what version of Java you're on. So, or what version of Minecraft you're on. So you can see here on the bottom of the white concrete, we have our iron trapdoors and they sit perfectly fine. However, on the sides here, they need some power source to actually close these trapdoors. However, we can do it on Java without using a power source by using this item I have right here in my toolbar called the debug stick. To get this, very simple, you'll type in the command /give @p Minecraft :debug, if I can spell it right, debug _stick. So it should look like that, and I did spell it wrong, bbug, there we go. So by pressing enter, you'll get this glowing stick here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that's only for Java players. If you're not in Java, you will need to use an alternative, and an alternative would be birchwood trapdoors. But for us, we can use the debug tool here. We'll left-click the trapdoors till we get selected open, should say false, and we can then right-click it and actually manually close these iron trapdoors, and they will lay flat. We can go ahead and then do the same thing over here, and it just kind of helps add a little bit more thickness there to that gun pod. But yeah, that's really it for that Vulcan gun pod, and that is, again, on both sides there. After we have that done, we have our easier hard point here, which is going to be this AM9 Sidewinder, which is a air-to-air missile. So for this, we're just going to grab the materials we'll need here, and if you need to, you can look at the toolbar like so. But real simple, to go ahead and build this, we're going to place down a quartz top slab here. Then we're going to go forward with 2 end rods, and then a quartz top slab on the front here, followed by a skeleton skull. On the sides of this quartz top slab, we're going to go and then place down a birchwood fence gate to both sides, item frame, black concrete block in the item frame, and then a birchwood sign on the side of that quartz top slab. The birchwood sign and item frame in the same block space is going to be a Java only feature. If you're not on Java, just place down the item frame and disregard the sign. Then going to the sides here, we can either leave it like this, or if you're on Java, we can go ahead and also do a little bit of extra work here using the debug stick. So what we can do here is we can place down a tripwire hook on the side of these blocks like this. So you basically want a block like so of space between the quartz top slab, or like so, and you're going to place that tripwire hook on the side of the block within that space. What we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to place down or use our debug stick here, left click the debug stick until we get selected facing. We'll go and then right click to rotate this around until it's coming off the side there of our quartz top slab. And we're just going to do the same thing on both sides there, like so. And you have those little tripwire hooks that hang off the side there. And that completes our AM9 Sidewinders on the external pylons. And that right there is it for layers 1 and 2. Pretty simple stuff, really straightforward. One thing I did notice here that I want to go ahead and change real quick is actually in this section here. Now, on this kind of outer row, not the middle row, but the row right next to it, we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our our sixth quartz top slab, or I should say polished diorite top slab. We're actually going to go ahead and replace with a stair. So we're going to go and delete that top slab. We're going to place down a upside down diorite stair and then an upside down corner stair going back from it. So you'll want to make sure that that gets applied to both sides there and all that. It's just a simple little thing that I did miss on the bottom there. Anyways, though, with that all done, that is going to wrap up what we have there for layers 1 and 2. And with that, we'll be going ahead and jumping up to layer number 3. Moving into our next layer, we actually have layer 4 and not layer 3. We've already done layer 3, so we are on to layer number 4. To go ahead and get started with here, we're going to go ahead and place down a polished black stone slab like so. We're going to go then place down a piston for Java players. An alternative to the piston here would be to use a end portal frame. That would work pretty good here in having that shape. And the reason we're using these is because we can use our debug stick here to modify them, and it really helps with the front sloping of the aircraft. So that's the only reason. Again, you can use a end portal frame as well. From this though, going back, we're going to place down a long row of smooth sandstone. It's going to go all the way back a row of 24. Throughout the build, we will be using sandstone. If I do say just sandstone, I do mean smooth sandstone. Smooth sandstone has a better texture to it, a lot more smoother, hence the name, and way better to use for building. So again, I will be using smooth sandstone throughout the build, so if I say sandstone, please just use smooth sandstone. Continuing on though, after that row of 24 of smooth sandstone, we're going to go and then place down a row of 3 of the blocks of netherite, and then a polished blackstone slab here on the end. That right there is going to build your center line, and we're going to go and start working our way out to the sides. We're going to start off by placing down a skeleton skull on the side of this piston. Then back from that, we're going to place down 1 and 2 yellow stained glass panes. We then want to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sandstone walls. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 smooth sandstone blocks back, and then a smooth sandstone upside down stair, and then an upside down sandstone stair coming off that corner stair. So you have the corner stair and then a normal stair right after it, like so. After that's all done, one thing here I did notice on the bottom from layer 3 that I also want to go ahead and adjust is we're going to go ahead and place down an item frame coming off this quartz, or this white shulker box, and then we're going to go ahead and place down a white concrete block in that item frame. And again, if you're on Java, we'll place a birchwood sign on the side there. Again, for Java only. After that's done, going back up to the front, we're going to go ahead and start working our way out to the side some more by going ahead and doing our intakes. For this, we're going to place down an iron trapdoor coming off this sandstone wall here. So it's going to be the second from last one. Then a diorite top slab, and then we're going to go ahead and place down a black concrete block directly after that. We then want to take our smooth sandstone. We're going to go back 1, 2, 3 blocks, then 1, 2, 3 sandstone walls, and then after that 1, 2, 3 sandstone stairs. After that's all done, we're going to place down 1 sandstone slab, followed by a daylight detector, a second daylight detector, and then we're going to go then place down birchwood trapdoors, like so. Now, one problem you may run into is if you're on a different version of Minecraft, you will have these iron trapdoors that will open. Now, using our debug stick here, we can actually close them by going ahead and left-clicking until we get selected open, and it should say true. Then we can go ahead and set it to false, so we can actually manually close those. If you are not on Java, then you can either use birchwood trapdoors underneath the daylight detectors, or if you want, you can also just use some sandstone slabs instead, though you do lose out on the sloping for the wing. So just keep that in mind. Those trapdoors will open just due to the daylight detectors, especially being on the day mode, and they look best on day for this build. I would not recommend setting them to the night mode, though you can if you really want to. Going ahead and continue on though, we're going to place down a daylight detector here on this iron trapdoor in the front. We're going to then go back from that with a row of smooth sandstone slabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're going to place down 2 daylight detectors back, like so. And then we're going to place down 2 birchwood trapdoors, make sure they're closed. After that row there, we're going to go ahead and place down a daylight detector coming off the side here of this block here. We're going to go then place down a sandstone slab back, and then a second, third, and fourth one, so you have a row of 4. And then we're going to place down 3 daylight detectors and 2 birchwood trapdoors, like so. We're going to go then place down a row of 2, or sorry, actually, this can be a row of 6 of daylight detectors, all the way along the side here, starting on that iron trapdoor there. And we're going to go then place down our birchwood trapdoors. Now, I would recommend having your birchwood trapdoors all face the same direction. It just kind of makes the build look better. You can see over here on this wing, it's a little kind of random, but if you have the birchwood trapdoors, it just kind of looks a little more consistent, a little bit better. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're placing them. We're going to go then place down 3 daylight detectors here along this row. And then we're going to go and take our birchwood trapdoors and we're going to place down a row of 3 of birchwood trapdoors. After that's done, we want to go and then place down a row of 4. Like so, and then a row of 2 on the very end there. Once we have that all done, we can go and take our debug stick here, and for all the iron trapdoors that did open due to these daylight detectors, we can just go ahead and, again, right-click them here and set them to basically go upwards. So we'll just do this for all of these iron trapdoors on the bottom here, and you can see it should look like this here on the bottom of the aircraft, or underneath the wing. So pretty simple, and that right there is pretty much it. Go ahead and take a look at it from above. This is what it should look like. One thing also I'm noticing here is that we do have these birchwood trapdoors on the side of our intakes, which are kind of important. So we're going to place down a row of 3 of trapdoors, come out those 3 blocks, and we'll just go and close them, or lay them flat like that on the side, and that kind of forms your intakes there for the aircraft. Also, we're going to go to the front now for Java players, and for this piston here, we're going to left click it until we get selected extended false prompt pop up. We'll go ahead and then right click and we can actually get rid of that wood portion, and as you can see, it helps create that sloping there for the front of the aircraft. We can also now do the same thing here to the bottom pistons. Just keep in mind that if you do update the block space around these pistons, so if you break the slab or you place a block next to the piston, it will revert back to its normal state of having that wood portion. So just keep that in mind and try not to mess around with those blocks too much, as they will revert back and you'll have to refix them with the debug stick. Anyways, though, that is going to do it for layer number 4 for the build, and with that, let's move on up to layer number 5. Alright guys, moving into our next layer here, we have layer number 5. For layer 5 to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to begin with by placing down a daylight detector on top of that second smooth sandstone block here on the front. We're going to go ahead and place down a sandstone slab, followed by a piston or a end portal frame, whichever you prefer. And then we're going to go ahead and place down a smooth sandstone block here. Now this next space here can either be left open if you do want to do an interior. However, for this build we will not be doing an interior, so we're just going to go ahead and fill this in with a row of 5 of black concrete. Again, you can either do an interior or just fill the space in, either one will work. So after this space of 5, we're going to go ahead and take our smooth sandstone, and we're just going to fill in the rest of the aircraft going back with a row of 13 smooth sandstone blocks. We're going to go then place down a row. So this right here, again, kind of depends on what you want to do. So if you have the aircraft in flight, obviously you want the engine on, we're going to place down a glowstone block and then an orange stained glass block. However, if you do not want the engine on, you'll just, instead of the glowstone here, you can just place down a black concrete block, a black block of coal, either one, some sort of black block here to kind of make it look like the engine is off. And boom, you have a engine off. So again, that's also an option to you guys as well, to kind of vary your engine there and make it look a little bit more accurate for whichever version you're making. Anyways, though, with that all done, that is going to make our center line there, and we're going to go ahead and move out to the sides. We're going to start off by placing down a skeleton skull on this first sandstone wall at a slight angle, and then one more skull back from it. We then want to place down a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sandstone walls back. And we're going to go then take our smooth sandstone and go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 smooth sandstone. Then 1, 2, 3 blocks on the other right, and then a polished blackstone wall. After that's done, going back up to the front up here, we're going to place down an iron trapdoor on top of this one, then a polished diorite slab, and then a black concrete block like that. Going back from the black concrete, we're going to go back 1, 2, 3 of the smooth sandstone, then 1, 2, 3 sandstone walls, and then 1, 2, 3 yellow stained glass panes. After that's all complete, we're going to go ahead and place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 birchwood trapdoors along the side there. After that, we're going to go ahead and then grab ourselves a item frame. We're going to place down an item frame here on the side of this slab. In that item frame, we're going to place down a red concrete block, rotate it around like so. And we're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood sign on the side of this slab like so. With that done, we're going to go then place down a birchwood trapdoor here. And then we're going to go back 1, 2 iron trapdoors, and then 1 out to the side here like so for our canards, or for the start there of those. And that right there is pretty much it. We want to go and then also take our debug stick here, and we're going to go ahead and right click the piston up here. Again, we'll get rid of that wood portion on top there for our front nose. We do also have this little banner on the side here, which is what the Israeli Air Force does actually run with. It's basically a circle with like the Star of David in blue in the banner, or in the center of the circle. So we will be making that. I will show you guys how to make that banner. But with that, that's going to complete everything we have there for layer number 2. Layer number 5, and with that, let's go ahead and move on to making that banner. Alright guys, so when it comes to making this banner, it's pretty simple and straightforward to do. We're going to start off with, we're going to be going ahead and going into our loom to begin with. We're going to place down our blue banner in the loom. We're going to need a blue banner, 3 white dye, 2 blue dye, and a banner pattern that's the flower charge. We're going to place our white dye into our loom to begin with, and we're going to do a horizontal white line across the center. We'll grab this banner, place it back into our loom, remove our white dye, place our blue dye and our banner pattern into the banner, or into the loom, and we should get a design that looks like this. We'll grab this banner, remove our blue dye and this banner pattern, and we're going to go then place down our white dye inside. We're going to do a horizontal line across the bottom, horizontal line across the top, so you get a symbol that looks like this. And then lastly, we'll place our blue dye back into the loom, and we're going to go and do the diamond in the center like so. And this will basically create this little Star of David logo, which you can then place down on the side of the aircraft. This is going to go on the side of this first sandstone wall, and it'll be the same thing on both sides there, right after your canards and the start there of the wing. And yeah, that'll just be on both sides of the aircraft, and that's pretty much all you need to do. So with that, that is going to wrap up everything we have there for layer number 5, and with that, we'll be jumping into layer number 6. Moving on to our next layer, we have layer number 6. For layer 6 to go ahead and get started with, we're going to go ahead and go to our first kind of black concrete block here, or this first space. We're going to place down an air brick slab on top of that. We're going to go then go back from that with 4 black stained glass full blocks and then a row of smooth sandstone. This is going to go ahead and go back a total of 14 blocks. We're going to go then place down row 3 of our block of netherites, followed by a polished black stone top slab, and then 2 birchwood trapdoors to go ahead and make the center line there for layer 6. With that done, go into the sides here of the snare brick slab. We're going to place down a wither skeleton skull at a slight angle, a black stained glass pane here, a birchwood fence post there, and then 1 and 2 black stained glass blocks or panes back. We're also going to go ahead and place down 1, 2, 3 yellow stained glass panes, 1, 2, 3 sandstone stairs, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 smooth sandstone blocks back, followed by 2 sandstone stairs to go ahead and make our back. After we have that done there on the sides, we're going to go ahead and begin with by place down a birchwood trapdoor on top of this diorite slab. We're going to go ahead and go back from that with 2 daylight detectors. Make sure that trapdoor does stay closed. Then we're going to place down 2 sandstone slabs back, then a row of 1, 2 skeleton skulls, and then 1 at a slight angle like so. And then we want to place down a birchwood trapdoor here. We're going to go and grab ourselves an item frame, and then a black concrete block. We're going to place down an item frame here, black concrete block, and then a birchwood sign on the side there of that block, followed by 1 and 2 birchwood trapdoors, which will also close on the side there of the aircraft. After we have that all done, pretty much one of the last things we're going to do here is we're going to take our birchwood trapdoors and we're just going to place down 3 on top of those 3 iron trapdoors. And that right there will pretty much complete everything we have there for this layer. It's pretty simple and straightforward. If you are on Java, we can also go ahead and do something a little bit extra here for debug stick, and we can actually extend the glass panes in the directions this way to kind of look like they connect up to the fence post. Makes the cockpit look a little bit more cleaner. To do this, pretty simple. We'll left click on this glass pane and you'll see these directions pop up. So selected east, true, selected north, true, whatever. But you need to figure out which way your glass panes actually face and which way you want to have them connect. So by pressing F3, we can see if we look back this way, we are facing north, and that's going to be in that second paragraph there on the left hand side, 4th line down, facing north. And that right there is basically how we tell which direction we're wanting to do. So if we go ahead and go to this glass pane and we right click it, we'll extend this side of the glass pane north, so that direction there. We'll go ahead and do it for that front glass pane and the glass pane back here. We'll then do the same thing here for having these go forward. So we can left click it again, and for us it'll be south. So south will be opposite of north, so we'll go that way. And we'll go ahead and right click these and they will go in that direction. So just a nice way to kind of make this connection all a little bit more cleaner here on the side. Again, it's not something that's necessary, but just a nice little aesthetic that just really helps you get that shaping just a little bit more right and just a little bit better looking overall. Anyways, though, that is going to conclude everything there is there for layer 6, and with that, let's move on to layer number 7. Moving on to our next layer here, we have layer number 7. For layer 7 to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to go ahead and begin with by going ahead and going into the second glass block. We're going to place down a daylight detector on top of it, turn that to the night mode, then 2 narrow brick slabs back. We're going to go ahead and then follow this up with 2 smooth sandstone slabs, then a row of 4 of these daylight detectors, then a row 3 of the birchwood trapdoors, a row 3 of sandstone walls, and then a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 smooth sandstone blocks, a sandstone wall, and a skeleton skull coming off that wall. After that's all done there, we're going to go ahead and then work our way out to the sides. For our sides here, we're going to start off by going ahead and go into this middle birchwood trapdoor near the kind of mid-fuselage section. We're going to place down a skeleton skull to the side of that, followed by a daylight detector back, and then a birchwood trapdoor after the daylight detector, like so. After that, we're going to go then skip a space, and then place down a polished blackstone button. And then on the very back here, we're going to place down a item frame on top of this last smooth sandstone block with a iron bar inside the item frame, like so. And we'll also just place down a birchwood button, which will be on the side of this second to last smooth sandstone block. And once you have that all complete there, that is going to wrap up everything we have there for layer 7. And with that, we'll be going ahead and moving into our final layers of the build. Moving into our final layers here of the build, we have layers 8 through 11. These layers are going to be pretty much solely focusing on the vertical stabilizer, so let's go ahead and jump into it. What we're going to do here to finish this build off is we're going to place down a sandstone slab on top of this first smooth sandstone block right after those sandstone walls. We're going to go then place down a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 sandstone full blocks. Going up from that, we're going to go to the second sandstone full block. We're going to place down a sandstone slab on top of that, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4 sandstone full blocks this time, and then a yellow stained glass pane on the end. We're going to go ahead and go up again on top of the second sandstone full block. We're going to place down a sandstone slab, a sandstone full block, and then we're going to go ahead and place down a red glazed terracotta and then a red sandstone wall. This is meant to represent some kind of squadron design or some kind of base, kind of tail flash type design that's in some pictures I was able to find of the C7. However, you can go ahead and also just replace this with a smooth sandstone block and a sandstone wall, or whatever you want to do. If you want to change it, make it something different, then you're more than welcome to. But again, this is just kind of based off a real life example. After that, though, we're going to go to the top of this block here. We're going to place down a direct slab and then a second direct slab on top of this wall. So now we'll complete your main structure there for the vertical stabilizer. We do have some extra little bits here we're going to put on the sides. For this, we're going to start off by placing down a skeleton skull on top of this, or coming off the side of this sandstone block here, right above the button, an end rod forward, and then we're going to place down a trip bar hook coming off this sandstone block here. We'll then place down a birchwood button on this side of this block here, and we're going to go then place down an acacia wood sign on the side of this block. Again, you can change that depending on what you're doing here for this tail. And then we're going to place down a skeleton skull coming off the side of this wall, like so. And once we have that all done right there, that's pretty much it. That's all we have here for layers 8 through 11. And with that, that'll complete my design here for the in-flight version for the Kfir C.7. At this point in time, though, we will be going ahead and moving on to the landing gear. So if you are interested in building the landed version, that will be available to you guys, and we'll be going ahead and moving on to that. In addition, if you do want to have the camouflage, or at least see what I did for my camouflage, you can go ahead and skip ahead by using the time encoder bar and skip ahead to the section called Camo, or use the timestamps in the video description if you, again, want to skip ahead to the camo section and skip the landing gear. With that, though, let's go ahead and move into the landing gear, and from there, the camo. So moving into our landing gear, we're going to go ahead and start with the front wheel. For our front wheel here, we want to go ahead and go down to this section here, right underneath the cockpit. We're going to go ahead and go back from our piston here, or where our skeleton skulls are. We're going to go ahead and go back from it 1, 2, and on your third block, we're going to go ahead and delete this top slab here, and in its place, we're going to place down a polished direct upside down stair. We're going to delete the block right behind that as well, and we're going to go ahead and place down a birchwood fence gate in its spot and open this up toward the front. We can also go ahead and delete this block above and this block here, and we can go ahead and take some polished diorite and we can just place it down above it to kind of make it look like the landing gear area right in there, the wheel well. With that done, though, we're going to go ahead and drop down, or actually, my bad. So instead of this fence gate here, we're actually going to place down our diorite wall. We're going to go ahead and then delete this slab, and in that place, we're going to go ahead and put our polished diorite block, and we're going to go ahead and then place down our birchwood fence gate and open this toward the wall. So it should look like this here. We're going to go ahead and then skip a space down from it. We're going to place down a block of coal. On top of that block of coal, we want to go ahead and place down an anvil. So like so. And then we're going to go ahead and place down a skeleton skull on both sides of the anvil. After that is all done there, the last thing we have is this banner design. Now I'm not going to show you guys how to make it in a loom since it's so simple. It's basically just a light gray banner, a black border, and a black horizontal line through the center. That's really it. Pretty straightforward and simple. And it'll go on both sides of this block of coal to basically make your wheels. And you can see here with the banner, it kind of actually makes it a little bit more like wheels, having that rim and all that. Anyways, though, that is it for the front landing gear. So pretty simple. And with that, we'll be going ahead and moving on to our rear. Moving into our rear landing gear, we're going to go ahead and start off by going ahead and going down to this section down here. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to the slab right after this corner stair. We're going to go to this iron trap door. We're going to delete that iron trap door. We're going to place down our direct wall in its place. We're going to drop down from the direct wall with a birchwood fence post, so like this. And we then want to go ahead and go from the fence post down at an angle. We're going to place down a polished black stone wall like so, and a second wall right behind that. We're going to place down a skeleton skull, come off the side of this first wall, which should kind of connect up here to the fence post. With that done, we're going to go then delete these two iron trap doors, and we're going to place down two wither skeleton skulls on top of those two walls. And that's it for your rear landing gear. Really simple design, and works pretty good. So that will be done right there, and you're going to go ahead and do the same thing over onto the other side, and you'll have your landing gear here complete for the Kfir. At this point in time, we will be going ahead and talking about the camouflage version, so we will now go ahead and dive into that section of the video. Alright guys, so when it comes to the camouflage for this aircraft, it's pretty straightforward and simple. I'm not going to go ahead and build the camouflage exactly as you can see in front of us, or really build it at all. I'm just going to kind of talk about the block usage and how you can build the camouflage for yourself. And it's really straightforward. It's a two-tone camouflage on the top here, so we have our tan and our brown. Our brown, we're using brown concrete, spruce wood trapdoors, brown stained glass, andesite walls. spruce wood signs, spruce wood stairs and slabs basically is our main blocks that we're using as an alternative to this tan. Now, what it does is it obviously creates a nice brown color into the aircraft, and you have that two-tone you can see here. Now, what I did is I based this off War Thunder's model, or War Thunder's paint scheme that they have for the aircraft actually in game. And you can very well do that as well, just like I did, or you can look at real life pictures and do it as well. Now, you know, you can see here I just went ahead and basically replaced any tan blocks with the brown wherever I saw fit and kind of wanted to do in terms of my shaping. So you can see I have a lot of brown up in this section here, but then we have a good amount of tan here, and then we have some brown in this section, but we kind of want to keep a little bit more tan on the back here than at the front. Again, this is all based off of War Thunder's camo scheme, and there are other camo schemes that do vary a little bit from, you know, from each aircraft. They do tend to vary. And you can see I did pretty much the same thing on both sides here. Now you can do the same thing on both sides, or if you really want to, what most of the Kfirs are actually designed is they do have a different camo scheme on each side. It's not completely symmetrical in terms of its camo, which makes sense, but that is something that you guys can do yourself as well. Just note that mine is completely symmetrical, but you can kind of just get some ideas on how I did mine. You can take some freeze frames or screenshots, or just pause the video wherever you need to, and you can try to replicate it for yourself. But overall, really simple, and it really isn't anything too difficult. Again, we aren't messing with anything on the bottom here. We want to keep this bottom a solid white color. It's only going to be everything that we did tan in the tutorial. So again, that right there is going to pretty much wrap up this tutorial, and that's going to be everything I'm really going to talk about when it comes to camo, because it's pretty straightforward and simple, and you got some good kind of angles there to kind of basically build it yourself if you really want to. But anyways, though, that is going to wrap up my tutorial here for the Israeli Air Force Kfir C.7. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this aircraft and are able to put it to good use. If you do end up using this build, I do ask you guys give me proper credit for it. This will be linked from the style of the build to a link to my channel or this video if this does appear on social media sites. As long as you guys give me proper credit for your free server projects you guys are working on, overall enjoy the build, have fun with it, all that fun stuff. Again, the big special links to Patreon support Derek Frost Westbrook for making this tutorial possible, and as always, feel free to check my Patreon page. Link is down in the video description. With that though, thank you guys again so much for watching. Welcome Israel to the modern aircraft line, and really nice aircraft to kind of kickstart that country. Anyways though, with that, thank you guys again so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is McGarrett204, and I'll see you guys next time.